It's Friday, which means it's time for another exciting episode of Ask Us Anything. Bahir and Uma with you. We're going to kick things off with a question from @mytipsyturvy, who asks, what movie or movies have you had the most repeated viewings of? We've never been asked this question before.
Yeah.
I have multiple answers.
Okay, you want to have some fun?
Go on.
You name two of mine, I name two of yours, and see if they get it right.
Can.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so, first question for you though. Do I count the trilogy as one? Or is it three separate movies? Because I figure if you start watching one, you will eventually end up watching all three.
Yeah, which is why you count them as a whole. Which lunatic jumps in and watches the Two Towers for shits and giggles?
Who knows lah? There are some crazy people out there, you know? But in that case, yes. Lord of the Rings would be one of your picks.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, correct.
Thank you. And the second one, Draft Day. Which I think you watch every year before the actual draft day.
Yeah. No, it's because I watch the NFL, so I get on my algorithms, I get the news of the draft day.
Which immediately makes you want to go and watch that movie.
Which reminds me, oh yeah, I love that movie Draft Day, so I'll put it on.
There we go.
Yeah. Two very good things. And like, I didn't even think about Draft Day, but you're right. I've seen that. I think I've seen that maybe twice a year for the past 4 years, probably. For you, I'm gonna go with the easy one by saying Back to the Future.
Correct.
Yeah. My other option, I mean, I've got an easy one, but I'm trying to think if I have one that's not so obvious.
There is one that is really not obvious that I don't think you will get.
Yeah. Because the obvious one would probably be the original Ghostbuster, like Ghostbuster 1.
That is also correct.
Yeah, like I don't think you would do the lot, but I think you would put on number 1.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, what was the one you think I wouldn't get?
Okay, so actually there's two that I think you won't get.
Okay.
Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
But only because as a child, we had the VHS, and my grandmother loved that show.
Sure.
So, oftentimes after school, she just put it on for me to watch. So I have seen The Sound of Music and that's a long movie, many times I have seen The Sound of Music.
I have the opposite problem with The Sound of Music because we, the kids in the family, love Sound of Music. But when my father was growing up in Australia, he was a ticket usher at a cinema that happened to be playing Sound of Music. So he never wants to see The Sound of Music ever again.
Right, I can see that.
So
yeah.
We have the opposite problem. But we love it. Like as kids, I remember we used to try and watch it all the time.
The other movie that I've seen a lot of times that you may not necessarily get, it's a little obscure. It's a Curtis Hanson movie called Wonder Boys with Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. It's got Katie Holmes in it. It's based on a novel by Michael Chabon, who's one of my favorite authors, and the movie is really, really good. Michael Douglas plays a writing professor at this, I say Midwestern university,
right?
And it becomes this comedy of errors. Tobey Maguire is one of his students. Robert Downey Jr. is his agent who keeps trying to get his latest book out of him. And Katie Holmes is another student in Tobey Maguire's class, and it's just utter chaos. And it's just this comedy of errors that happens over the course of one night. It's a really good film. Curtis Hanson also did 8 Mile, I believe.
Oh, okay.
He's a very good director. But yes, Wonder Boys I've seen many, many times. I also had the pleasure of watching it with Michael Chabon when he was at the Singapore Writers' Festival. And he came down and he did a session where he talked about the script-to-screen, book-to-screen thing, which is very
cool.
And then other than Ghostbusters, the most obvious one is Jurassic Park, which I've seen countless times.
For me, the movie that I would say I've seen countless times would probably be Casablanca.
Yeah?
Like, I literally cannot count how many times I've seen that movie. So yeah, there you go, my tipsy turvy. There's a couple of options there for you.
Very nice.
At Daphne M88 asks, what are your thoughts on the Severance finale? Are you team Inimark or Altimark? Are you team Heli or Helena or team Gemma? Where do you think season 3 will go from here, seeing that a major arc of the show has been covered? Praise Kier.
So, I think
Okay.
we should skip this question.
Okay.
I put it in because I think we should do a podcast about Severance. We've done a review podcast, but I think there's a lot of stuff we couldn't talk about. Actually, we couldn't talk about anything. And so I think there's a lot of stuff we can do in a wrap podcast, which I think we've had lots of requests for on our Instagram DMs.
Okay, so I will then also raise the bar a little bit by saying we'll do a rap podcast, but also send us your questions.
Yes, send us your questions for a Severance recap/rap podcast. Send us your theories as well. Can I just talk about theories for a second? Like, the internet is inundated with Severance theories, okay? And I understand that because it's a very complicated show, it's very complex, and people have no idea where anything is going. However, the internet is also inundated with White Lotus theories. And that one, I don't quite get. Because I've always felt the White Lotus to be a pretty straightforward show.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, the only theory you can have with regards to season 3, for example, is what is the gunshot in the first episode? Like, who shot and who got shot? Otherwise, it's just really a show about assholes.
No, but you know what it is? I don't think it's theories. I think with the White Lotus, it's gossip.
Right. It's tea.
It's more of like gossiping about what they think these women are doing and all that stuff, I feel like. Also, sorry, Daphne, we're just going to take your time by doing other things. But when that episode of The White Lotus came out, no spoilers, but I was seeing a lot of headlines about incest, and I'm like, nothing pun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's the thing which I like about the White Lotus, right? All of the media headlines would make you believe that it's this incredibly sordid thing that happened. But the way they actually play it on screen is very restrained.
It is, I guess, technically incest.
Sure, it's technically incest. However, there's a lot of context as to what happens before and after.
It's very clickbaity, right? Because the reaction is almost, holy shit, right? What the fuck happened?
All of the headlines have been super clickbaity because I saw the headlines first before actually watching the episode.
Same, yeah.
And then when I watched the episode, I'm like, no, this was tastefully done given what it's about. Coming back to Severance for a second, there is an interesting article, I think it's in the New York Times, just in reference to what Daphne said about a major arc being resolved. The article makes the case for ending Severance. And the article goes, actually, you know what? I was very satisfied with this season, and I don't need a season 3.
Right.
And I think that's quite interesting. But you know what? We will discuss all of this on our Severance Rap podcast coming soon to the Goggler Podcast.
Yeah.
In the meantime, however, at Sid Takudin asks, episode 12 of The Pit was engrossing to watch and had me glued to my screen the entire hour. Without spoiling anything, who are your favorite and least favorite characters? Can I go for the boring option because Robbie is my favorite character? I just think Noah Wyle is going to get so many nominations for this. He is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Even early in the series, can I tell you, I was just on edge because he couldn't go to the toilet and pee.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It didn't occur to me that he hadn't gone and peed yet.
That's how good the show is with the writing, that all of these little things play on your mind and create tension within the series.
Yeah.
But I really love Robbie. I think he's a fantastically drawn character.
Yes.
I also like
absolutely.
the head nurse, who is like the nicest.
I was gonna say the head nurse or the 2 Filipino nurses. I
Yes.
love them. Like, whenever they have an extended sequence on screen, I'm like, I light up. I love the 2 of them.
As for most annoying or hated character is Dr. Trinity. Isa Briones' character, you know, Isa Briones who was in Picard. The annoying intern, the know-it-all. The one who cannot take feedback.
Yeah, she is annoying and she is the antagonist in a show that I'm not entirely sure needed an antagonist.
But I think we all know people like that.
Yeah, that's my issue, right? So, like, I was gonna go with some of the patients. I mean,
They're
I
sick,
guess that
man.
would be fair.
They're sick.
Nobody on the staff I find particularly annoying. Like, even you say that know-it-all you can tell she's doing it as a sort of defense mechanism wall thing.
Sure.
So I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. But yes. At Kailash Laxman asks, which other countries would you like to see a White Lotus season set in? Personally, I would love to see one in Japan.
This season was supposed to be in Japan.
Yeah,
I looked it up after our last conversation, and everything was almost a go. I think Thailand offered tax credits, and then everything got moved to Thailand. But yeah, it was supposed to be in Japan. I think Japan would be an interesting dynamic because Japanese people and Thai people, when it comes to like hospitality and manners and behavior, very similar, right? Very polite. I think that would be an interesting dynamic.
I will say I am fairly disappointed with this season's hotel staff because not many of them are actually Thai.
Yeah, there's the Russian guy, then there's the white lady.
I'm not seeing enough of Thailand here, which I'm finding annoying.
But I think now that they've done Phuket, it's unlikely they'll do another Southeast Asian country, so Bali's out of the question. So what have they done? They've done Hawaii, they've done Europe, as in Italy, and now they've done Southeast Asia. Maybe not an island, maybe somewhere landlocked?
I was going to say, I would love to see somewhere landlocked. Maybe the French countryside, even like a high-end, I know they probably exist, but I might be also delusional, but like a high-end, ooh, I got it. Oh, fuck, I got it. I fucking got it. A Middle Eastern country. Not like Qatar or Dubai. I'm talking about Jordan. I'm talking about Oman.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, right? Like rich, high-end Middle Eastern country that isn't Qatar and Dubai and the Emirates kind of thing.
I like that. That's good.
Because I think Jordan's a pretty good one. I think I watched a documentary about a hotel in Jordan that's pretty fucking swanky.
All right, Mike White, give us a call. You heard it here first. White Lotus Season 4, Middle East.
Middle East.
At Travesty asks, with Nerza 2 setting box office records, how does this Chinese animation flick compare to Western, Japanese, and even Malaysian animation? Let's take feature films for context. Okay, so he doesn't mean TV shows, like Upin and Ipin, for example.
Sure.
I think, personally, Nerza 2 is pretty good with regards to the animation. It's definitely better than Malaysian animation. Malaysian animation isn't bad. It's just that it's not quite as detailed or textured as what we see coming out of America. And that's partly because they have better computers, better technology, and a lot more people working on it, and a lot more money put towards it. I think Western animation still is the benchmark, is the flag carrier when it comes to things like this. Japanese animation is very different because anime, as a rule, is very against using computers. So there are some anime that are computer generated, and they're rarities, and there's a huge discourse in the country about how anime should be traditional still. And of course that discourse extends to a tortured workforce, people not being paid enough, people not sleeping, all of this stuff, right? But Japanese animation is a different thing, and I don't think we can judge it in the same way, because with something like Nerza, you kind of compare it to Pixar, DreamWorks, the 3D CGI style that Disney does, and so on. And I think the Western guys are still the flag bearers. I mean, yes, the water in Nerza is very good, but then you just look at Toy Story 4, and even the opening sequence in the rain is something different lah. It's mind-blowing. However, that for me isn't the comparison. And I think where a lot of Asian animation still has a long way to go, especially China and Malaysia. I'm talking about the Japanese. The Japanese have had a head start.
They're fine.
With regards to storytelling, they're fine. But I think it's the storytelling elements. Nerza is very good, and it's a lot of fun, and it's very funny. But it hits the same beats we've seen many, many times before. I think what we enjoyed with things like Inside Out 2, or The Wild Robot, or Flow, was just the unique take that these directors and storytellers took, and it felt so fresh, and it felt deeply emotional. And I think it wasn't just an action movie, for example.
I hate to be the wet blanket here, but I think we have to contextualize this, right? The only reason we're talking about Ninja 2 is because it went gangbusters in China. Like, the reason it even came to Malaysia is because it did gangbusters in China. And I hate to say it, but the only reason we at Goggler covered Ninja 2 is because it went gangbusters in China, then started doing very well in Malaysia. So I'm not using that as a stick to beat Ninja 2. I'm just saying that the context of us talking about Ninja 2 is because of its local support. Now, did we all go out to watch Dongeng Sang Kancil? Which I have repeatedly been told is very different than what you assume it to be. Like, I literally got a text this morning from a friend of mine saying he saw it last night and was traumatized. The violence, the sheer violence.
That was one of the controversies behind the show.
Yeah, so even when it had controversy, the locals didn't come out for it.
Yes.
So I agree with you. China, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia need to work on the writing with regards to animation. That needs to be better. And even if it means as a industry we copy the Japanese style of writing or we copy the Western style of writing, that's fine. But we have to be better in the writing. I didn't grow up watching Kluang Man, so I'm completely uninterested in that. I didn't grow up watching Upin and Ipin or Bobo Boy, and I don't find that to be pieces of animation that I would refer to if I needed to point a child in the direction of animation.
Same, exactly. I don't think it's something, one, I would watch again or repeatedly, and there's a lot of animation that I watch multiple times. Neither would it be something that I introduce my son to. I think I will still start him off on the classics.
I dare say you would probably spend more time trying to find the original Sang Kancil short animated series.
Oh, for sure.
As opposed to Upin and Ipin or Bobo Boy or whatever.
Yeah, the ones we grew up watching on RTM, right? For sure.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, Ninja 2 was a good time in the cinema, for sure. And it was a lot of fun and a really proper accomplishment on the part of Chinese animation. But I think for real global success, the storytelling, as in just beyond box office success, I think for real global success, beyond box office success, the storytelling needs to shine as much as the animation.
At Tapauzi asks, are we excited for Ballerina starring Ana de Armas, and why is the answer yes? I'll be honest, the answer is not yes.
For Tapau, I believe the answer is yes because of Ana de Armas.
Or maybe,
yeah.
Right?
I will say this. I'm looking forward to Ballerina because it's from that John Wick stable of creators. Like, ever since John Wick, we've seen a lot of imitators and spin-offs and whatever. And the imitators haven't been very good lah. Like, Love Hurts was terrible. Novocaine was pretty good, but then there've been a series of movies in between, right? But with Ballerina, with Nobody, I think Nobody 2, also from the same stable of creators, I'm a little more excited or looking forward to, because I think they may maintain that same standard, hopefully. Like, the only thing I love a lot about the John Wick universe is the universe. Like, I love all that continental shit and the hotel and the gold coins and, like, all that stuff's cool lah.
I agree so much that I want to see a new John Wick movie without John Wick in it. Because I didn't like the last one.
To be fair, I might be wrong. But to be fair, I think Keanu's going to be in this for like 2 minutes.
Oh, no. I completely agree with you, and I don't see that being any different. But my thing with the Ballerina is that I'm looking forward to it. I can't say I'm excited for it. I think those are two different things. I'm excited for Superman, Fantastic Four. Ballerina is one of those things I'll go and watch.
At Alan Tan SL asks, in April, new seasons of Black Mirror, The Last of Us, and Andor will be all released around the same period. What are your expectations regarding them? All 3 trailers look fantastic. Do you think all will be brilliant? And if not, which one is most likely to be a 10 out of 10? I am most excited for The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
Because that first season, I felt was just masterful and brilliant and had me truly invested. Andor as well, I am looking forward to, but cautious optimism.
Oh, okay. So you're actually concerned about that?
I'm not concerned, but I have faith that Gilroy can pull it off. But there is a weird new structure to this Andor season because every 2 or 3 episodes are an arc, I believe.
Oh.
And then there are time jumps in between each arc, and then it ends right before Rogue One.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to how they're going to pull that off and whether everything is going to feel kind of crammed because there was so much politics, espionage, intrigue in season 1, right? And then there was the prison drama and all of the stuff going on. So I'm curious to see what this new season does. So curious and cautiously optimistic. But Last of Us, I'm very excited for. Black Mirror, I'm the least excited for. But the trailer has filled me with a little more confidence because it feels like Charlie Brooker has gone, oh yeah, we really fucked up with that last season. Black Mirror was supposed to be about technology and how it affects our world. And we decided to do all kinds of new things lah. But my problem was then that made Black Mirror no different from The Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and all of these other shows that already took on those things. Like the unique selling point of Black Mirror was that he had such a clever take on technology. And so now we have a sequel to the USS McAllister, was it? I can't remember the name of that episode. But yeah, the Star Trek spoof.
one, yeah.
From the trailer, it looks like they're leaning back into their technology roots.
I actually have not seen any of these 3 trailers.
Oh.
Only because I know I'll be watching them. So I don't need the...
You don't need to be sold lah.
Yeah, I don't need to be sold. Like, I will be there day 1, Black Mirror, The Last of Us, and Andor release. So in that sense, my expectations are purely based on just excitement levels. And my excitement level is highest for Andor, followed by Last of Us and then Black Mirror. And our last question for the day, at Iman Bahari asks, when do you guys know that a piece of media is overanalyzed? Like the message behind the movie or book is there, but people tend to overextend their interpretation. Do the creators themselves have to clarify the nature of the media? But would it then detract the experience of understanding the media?
That's a very good question.
That's also a very hard question to answer.
It is.
I have very strong feelings about this, in that art shouldn't require a pamphlet to explain. For example, when I go to a museum and I see someone's painting of a white wall on a white door with a white doorknob. If there's an explanation of what he was trying to say when he had the white on the white on the white, and it requires 3 pages to explain it, then I think as the artist, he has failed. I feel the same way about short films. If you show me a short film that included a flying plastic bag for half of its runtime, and then in the air quotes Q&A afterwards, you spend 20 minutes telling me that the plastic bag is supposed to mean the fleetingness of life and how memories are to be forgotten and recycled, then I will tell you to fuck off and die, because your movie didn't tell me that.
Because your movie was a self-indulgent piece of crap.
Yes, it was. So
Yes.
With regards to whether or not I know a time when something has been overanalyzed, I don't know if there is a thing as overanalyzed, especially because media.
I look at this in 2 ways. Let's look at movies. I think when a movie comes out, I think it is entirely possible for the movie to mean something that the creator did not intend. Because the creator may have had an idea or a point of inspiration, and he or she may have made this thing. And then when I watch it with my own personal baggage, I may get something completely different from it, and that's totally okay. I also think that there are times when something garners a big enough following, and when a creator puts it out into the world, it no longer belongs to that creator. I think it does belong to the fans or to the followers in a certain way, right? And I think that leads to analysis and interpretation and all of these things. I think sometimes when people try to elevate something unnecessarily or find meaning where there is none, a very good example is the remake of these Disney princess movies. A lot of the time when you hear the rhetoric people use to talk about these children's movies, it feels a little too much. And I'm just like, guys, calm down. Let the kids watch it. They get some nice moral lessons. Let it go. This isn't here to change the world, right?
Yeah.
And I think in those situations, sometimes you feel it when something is being oversold or overanalyzed or overinterpreted. And then on the other side, there are movies that are designed to be exactly that. They are abstract, and just like abstract art and some experimental music, they are designed by the creator for the listener to find their own conclusions. And all of that I'm okay with. But I'm with you when you say that it's a problem when the creator of something spends an inordinate amount of time trying to put forward that point of view, because I think your art should speak for itself. I have no problem with people overanalyzing things and all of that stuff. I mean, that's what art is there for, lah.
But I also feel like the overanalyzing, like Uma and I overanalyze a lot, but we do it for our own enjoyment. I think the problem with overanalyzing is when you analyze something and then you declare that this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and everybody else can go suck dick.
Yeah,
I
when you
think
start
that's the
shoving
problem.
it down people's throats.
Yeah, I think that is the problem. Because when I watched Casablanca, it was a sweet story about a guy who was trying to not get together with his ex. And then later on, it means something else. And I think overanalysis is good. But someone's overanalysis or someone's analysis being then in their own minds at least, the definitive version of that art piece, I think is when it's wrong. I think you take away your own thing and that's fine. Let's all just have some fun with it.
At the end of the day, you should also be entertained by it. And it should do something for you, right? As in, art isn't just there to be analyzed and interpreted. I think it should also, great art should make you feel joy. And I think that's important as well. So, yeah, sometimes the analysis and the interpretation does get in the way of the enjoyment of it all. And I feel that's when it becomes a problem.
Yes, agree.
Yeah. But thank you for your question, Iman. That was a good one. Difficult one, but a good one. Keep those questions coming in. That was our last question for this week's Ask Us Anything. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram at GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.